Hi Gemini, welcome to your April 2018 General Tarot reading. It's Raina here. I'm going to be using the Rider-Waite deck along with picking the Challenge Position card from the Wild Unknown Tarot because it's very gothic and pretty cool. Like for instance, this is an example of that. This is the challenge position, so it's just for added statistical interest. I got the same one twice. I mean, for a different sign, obviously. I think it was even this two combination for another sign, which is very statistically improbable. Okay. Okay. Well, let me just gather these cards. It seems like there are people, based on these spreads that I've pulled, the cards that I've pulled lately, who are at a crossroads. And that's what kind of this card. Now, this can be a career crossroads where you're deciding whether or not you want to stay in whatever your career of choice is. I have to remember to, at this time in the morning, do it on this side. And so the person's holding a globe in their hand, and I think that kind of symbolizes that there's a big old world out there, and maybe they've been kind of specializing so much in one area that they haven't been able to explore some of their other talents, and they want to. And this is, with that card, I would even say, especially if you're middle-aged, whatever that means in 2018. I mean, that could be even 30s, 40s. Usually it used to be mid-30s, but now, because people are getting older, it could be in your 40s, and you felt like you've explored whatever it is that you're doing in your career, and you're just, maybe it was something, you've gotten to a point in your life where you realize that your career wasn't really, you wandered into your career, or it just came about, but it wasn't really what your passion is, and now you feel like time is slipping away and you want to start doing something that feels more meaningful to you. Because with the wands, we're talking about fiery energy, and so it's about not being blasé. I think of the Four of Cups, not just feeling bored or dissatisfied. With Geminis, you're so versatile that there has to be another thing, or maybe multiple things that interest you, and you may be kind of like, gosh, I would rather do something that is more meaningful to me than and showcases my talents and whatever it is I'm doing, even if you're good at it, and even if you make good money from it. What challenges you is represented by the Four of Pentacles. I love these illustrations on these cards. This isn't one of the more kind of spooky illustrations, though. I got the one for Scorpio, which corresponds to the Death card. That's their sign, I mean, the Death card corresponds to Scorpio, and I got it for them. And it's a funny picture, so it's, it shows it's like a plucked ostrich or something. But anyway, the Four of Pentacles in a challenge position, if you think about what the upright means of the Four of Pentacles, it's really about being wise with your money and having control over it, and being very clever with how you handle and spend money, save money. And in the reversed position, we're looking at somebody who may have problems holding on to their money, and that may be part of what is happening here, where maybe you'd like to move on, but you don't have savings, or in some cases is that the money is controlling you, and so you're making a good living doing what you're doing, and what you would like to do doesn't pay as well. It could be something like that, and you're just kind of like, ugh. The cause of all of this may be deliberation, or what we would call, what would I call the Two of Wands? Maybe the sense of ambivalence about how to proceed in terms of your future is the Chariot card. And the Chariot card, there's a couple things that it could be representing. First of all, the Chariot card represents the sign of Cancer, and Cancer is right next to Gemini. The moon, your moon and your rising sign can be any signs, but Mercury, Venus, and Mars, they could all be in Cancer. In Cancer. And that means that even as a Gemini, you may have a strong Cancerian undertone and be very cautious about proceeding because of money matters. And so that could simply be that influence of of Cancer that is maybe preventing you from moving forward. Because actually the Two of Wands can also be talk about, like, maybe you're thinking of relocating, and yet there's something that's keeping you here. But it could simply be that you don't want the expense, or just the unknown quantity is keeping you here, because maybe it would involve leaving your job, leaving your family, and those things are very important to you, especially if you have a lot of Cancer inner planets. Now, the other thing that this can represent is that you've had some kind of success. It's a victory card, and it could be that something has happened. Maybe you have a side gig or side business, because Gemini people like to have two of everything, including probably businesses. So maybe that's doing really well, and you're starting to think to yourself, hey, maybe I could leave my day job, and yet something is keeping you from doing so. And if this is a personal relationship, there may be like a Cancer person and an earth sign individual. So that would be a Virgo. That's the first one I think of for Gemini, Capricorn, Taurus, that you are trying to decide between. And if that's the case, the Five of Swords as the spiritual perspective is that you are possibly being cheated on, or this is actually a card of empty victory. So it can be a situation where perhaps you were able to get the person that you really care about to return their affection, but there are other complicating matters. Maybe there's another person in the picture. And so you may be, if you're the person that is with someone who is already connected, that's a long-winded explanation. If you're with somebody who's already married, let's say, and you want them to leave their partner, that may happen, but it would be an empty victory. That's what the spiritual perspective is, because of all of the other things involved. So whenever you see a 2, it could be deciding between 2 people, if it's a personal relationship. And yet, even if you were to get what you want, it could be something that is not necessarily a good thing. It wouldn't be, because maybe the facts around the case, if there was deception going on, if you're with somebody who is already involved, that person may not be that trustworthy because they're willing to cheat. So it's like you get the victory, but you lose the war. And in terms of deception related to employment issues, it could be talking about, this is the spiritual message, is that like if you are already dissatisfied in your workplace because of situations with coworkers, this is a card of saying, yes, they have deceived you, they're conspiring behind your back. And so the decision has already been made in a way, because it's like, it's not a good environment. The other thing too is if you've received a job offer, and especially if this is a long distance job offer, be very careful that this is not deceptive, that they're not telling you false things about the job description, because the 5 of Swords, this is Swords relates to communication, but this can be communication that is not what it appears to be. And that would be very unfortunate if you were to uproot your life and go to a different country only to find out that that was all bogus. And so you would be advised to investigate that fully. What's coming in is represented by the 8 of Pentacles. You may be entering some kind of a training program for your particular career to gain better qualifications, or what do they call those? I can't think. When I do these readings in the morning, sometimes it's a little bit rough. Just credentials, and this may also involve an apprenticeship program where you are, or an internship where you are, you may be paid for it. Actually, the 8 of Pentacles is a card of hard work and, hard work paying off, actually. So you may have just finished something like this and now you're starting to receive the benefits from it. It can be going back to school as well. And for the purpose of improving your skill set. And in personal relationships, you may decide to work on a marriage. If the person is, because this is like showing that something is out of whack, and maybe it's with an earth sign or an earthy type of person if it's not the sun sign, and that you decide to kind of invest in the marriage. That's, it's investing, it's putting energy into something to get that good result. And so if you've been dissatisfied with your marriage and you've been stepping out, you may decide to stay with your partner and just make it work. The outcome is the Knight of Wands. This is a card of fresh new things happening, a lot of movement. Okay, I would say timing-wise, look to the new moon in Aries. This is a card I really associate with Aries. I believe it's associated with Sagittarius though, but it's fiery, it's double fire, and so I would say, that new moon, sun and moon in Aries, double fire, April 15th, and that's when Mercury turns direct. So this may be something that you feel is the catalyst for everything to kind of go forward. Maybe you've been kind of like on the fence about something, but then you're able to move forward enthusiastically at the end of the, at the middle of the month and beyond. Okay, Gemini, I hope you enjoyed this. And if you'd like a personal reading, please click on the link below. Have a wonderful month of April. Bye.